I'm Larry Goodman, and it is a pleasure to welcome everybody here today. I think anytime an announcement goes out that says exciting news, CEO transition, first from the standpoint of the CEO, there could only be a couple of, actually I can think of only one way that that's exciting news, because there are a couple of other ways there could be a CEO transition that's not so great. So they could be removed for a purpose, they could get sick in office, or it could be this, which is that it's been just terrific working here, and it seems like this is a good time to start talking about a transition and working with our board to make sure that goes as well as it should go for such a terrific place. As many of you know, I've had the good fortune of having this job here since 2002. And before that, my training here actually started in 1976. So this has been very much kind of a family to me. And obviously I met my wife here, my son is in training here, so it's a fabulous place from my standpoint. When I started here, I certainly had no idea what it meant to be on a board or to work with board members. And in fact, if somebody had said when I was a resident or an attending here that someday you're going to be the CEO, I would have thought, that's just terrible news, I must have been a terrible doctor. And this is like the worst thing in the world. But it's turned out great for me. I absolutely love this. This has been just an incredible, incredible honor and privilege to be in this position. And I think it is one of those special times where you're in a position to see a complex organization evolve over time. And I've got a chance, even still, over the last few weeks, to be in parts of Rush that I hadn't been in before and meet people I hadn't met before, and repeatedly see people step up in ways that are so far beyond anybody's call of duty. It's just remarkable. It is, and all of you know that. I mean, we have quarterly, we recognize employees of the quarter and employee of the year, and in each of those meetings we can quite honestly say that people are identified for that, and they must really be among the best of the best to be identified among a group like yourselves and so many other people that work here. It is really a tremendous place, and it's been a huge honor for me. One of the most important things that a board of trustees does is select the next CEO. And there are many other important things that boards do, but that's one of the very most important things. And in healthcare especially, often CEO transitions don't go so great. And most of you are aware of other healthcare organizations, whether regionally or nationally, that have had some kind of wrenching changes happen, either because it was an unexpected change, somebody got sick or there was some other problem, or for whatever reason, it wasn't really well thought out. This is the opposite of that. This has been something that people have spent a lot of time on and a lot of care on. Bill Goodyear, who is the chair of the board, kind of in the middle of the group up here, was the chair at the time when about 2 years ago I talked to Bill and some of the other board leadership and said I thought this really is the time to start planning for a transition like this. Because of that, Bill thought it was a good time for him to think about transitions, because it would be useful that the next CEO would interact with the new chair of the board, and they would develop that relationship right from the start. So the board went through its own succession planning process, and that led to the naming of Susan Crown, immediately to my left, and we're so fortunate to have both of those tremendous civic leaders on our board and taking these leadership positions. Susan chaired a process, which we'll talk more about, a committee of people that has worked for well over a year, looking inside and out and identifying the individuals and the processes that would lead to the very best people to lead the organization going forward. And this is an organization with great leadership, and you see a number of them up here. One of the initial steps was, most of you know that for most of the time at Rush, the CEO position also held the position of the president of Rush University. Literally hundreds, actually thousands of people participated in strategic planning across the medical center and across the system and within Rush University. And as that developed, each of those components, the university, Rush University Medical Center, Rush System, each has coordinated, integrated strategies, but each have some specific goals in mind. And it became obvious that we could go further and faster by naming an individual to be the president of Rush University as the sole and only function and the thing that they would be focused on. So a step first was to initiate that search. As all of you know, that search attracted some outstanding individuals, actually a large number of outstanding individuals across the country. That led to a process in the traditional kind of academic search way, which led to a recommendation to the Board of Governors, which is the committee that looks over the university, chaired by Carol Siegel, that recommended, really head and shoulders above all applicants, Dr. Shireen Gabriel, who is up front as well and a key part of this leadership team. And Shireen, as many of you have already met her, started just on February 1st, and within those few weeks has really become an integrated critical component of the institution. All this time, at that same time, we continued with that process of selection. You're called together kind of quickly today because the things that have to happen after the selection process you're going to hear about from Susan Crown is that all of this requires various board committees to approve things, and we have a lot of board committees. And so that required the Rush University Medical Center Board to approve the CEO of Rush University Medical Center, required the system board, which we formed just 2 years ago, when we formed that system, to approve the CEO of the Rush system and to ratify the choice of the Rush University Medical Center Board. And we certainly wanted to pull together the key other leaders in the organization to let them know and let all of you know before this news goes public, which I'm sure will be on 60 Minutes and CNN, Sky Channel, everything. It's the biggest news of the day. So it's a big deal. So I will say, as I asked Susan Crown to come forward, that I cannot thank the board enough. Compared to what I knew all those years ago and what I know now about what boards do, they do the actual kinds of things you do, in the sense that they are 100% committed to the mission of the institution. Their decisions are made on behalf of the institution, and they do all of this as a contribution to the institution. They are unpaid volunteers that put in untold hours, and particularly these last few months and years, Susan Crown and Bill Goodyear have really put in a huge amount. So as I ask Susan to come forward, please join me in thanking them.
Thank you, Larry, and I am blown away by how many people can show up with 2 hours notice. It's amazing to me. I'm so grateful you're all here because we have really exciting news to share. Today, as you heard from Larry, we are sadly announcing his retirement. He is renowned and beloved around here. He's often described as one of the best CEOs in the nation, and he has had one incredible run over the last 17 years. If there are any clinicians in the audience who can slow down the aging process or the need for sleep, we can disband this meeting right now. But today, we are announcing the appointment of 2 widely respected doctors and leaders of our system and Rumsey. Dr. Ranga Krishnan will be the Rush System CEO, and Dr. Omar Latif will be the Rush University Medical Center CEO. But first, I want to say a few things about Larry. As you heard, Dr. Goodman approached Bill Goodyear about 2 years ago, noting that he felt it was kind of time to start thinking about a transition. Bill, in his very special leadership mode, ignored Larry for a full year. And then Larry brought it up again, and it got, as my kids would say, real. And we put together a succession committee. I was asked to lead it, and I can tell you it was one of the most daunting assignments I've ever accepted, trying to find Dr. Goodman's replacement, but I think we've done well. Most importantly, Larry is widely and deeply admired across the entire Rush family, and a review of his accomplishments only partially explains why. He's one of the best leaders I've ever worked with, and is certainly one of the best medical center leaders in the nation. He's guided Rush to some pretty substantial successes. He took us out of a financial crisis and restored us to financial health. He's elevated our clinical excellence and investment in breakthrough research. He's built a renowned science education program and significantly expanded our patient reach. And his tenure included the $1 billion transformation of the medical center and the formation of the Rush system. Larry has served as CEO from Rumsey from February of 2002 until now. He was holding 3 positions: Rumsey CEO, Rush University CEO, and as of 2 years ago, System CEO, until Dr. Gabriel assumed that position in February. He also holds the academic rank of Professor of Internal Medicine and is the James Campbell Professor of Rush University, most appropriately. He's a leader and an inspiration, and I'm really grateful for his partnership. And the board is really grateful that he's not going to make some sort of quick exit out the side door, but will really help make this transition smooth, constructive, to make sure our dynamic new leadership team is equipped with what they need to take us forward. I'm going to say also that something you all know, he's an amazing human being. He has towering executive function, deep compassion, and absolute humility. That's a pretty powerful combination, and that leaves very big shoes to fill. Now, while we'll miss Larry, we couldn't be more excited about his successors. It is an honor to have the incredible talent we do right here within the Rush system. As I mentioned when describing our process, we purposely benchmarked our leadership against national leadership. There's a tendency to be insular and tell ourselves we have the best, but we did go out and compare against the market, and we do have the best. The system and Rumsey boards are confident that Dr. Krishnan and Latif are amongst the best in the country and will build on our efforts to be leading healthcare CEOs for the future. Each, in their own very different ways, are inspiring and exceptional professionals. Fortunately for Rush, Dr. Krishnan and Dr. Latif both enthusiastically accepted these critical roles and have already started hunkering down with each other and talking to Larry about the future. Dr. Krishnan, as you all know, is a renowned physician both nationally and internationally. He's known for his pioneering work developing new teaching methods, as well as for his strategic vision and operational agility. He has already, in 3 years here, transformed the medical college's curriculum to focus on what medical education should be, involving medical students in active, integrated, and future-focused learning. He's revitalized a substantial number of clinical departments to improve patient-centered efficiency and results. And he spearheaded efforts to build out a best-in-class, patient-centered cancer unit. He possesses a mix of strategic vision, operational expertise, and the ability to engage people to get important work done. Dr. Latif has been Rush's physician leader and chief medical officer since January of 15, and Rush system CMO since June of 18. He has excelled at designing, implementing, and overseeing Rush's initiatives in clinical quality, patient safety, and performance improvement. He led to Rumsey being ranked second in the nation among 99 leading academic medical centers for quality and accountability. And I do believe we're #1 according to Vizient at the moment.
Yeah, halfway through the year.
Halfway through the year.
That counts.
I'm going to say that again. We've been rated #1 by Vizient. He's recruited some of the strongest clinicians to the team. He has deep connections with the Rumsey medical and operational staff, and he's really used data analytics to substantially improve quality and demonstrated how and why they can be, our external quality rankings can be improved. That was a brave thing for him to do. We know that Dr. Latif possesses an incredible combination of insight, energy, and vision to accelerate our momentum. And it is also with great pleasure that I announce that Mike Dandorf has agreed to continue his leadership role as president of the Rush System. Mike planted the seeds for the Rush System, and now he will be seeing the fruits of his labor. He has been instrumental with the transition and will be keeping a strong and steady hand on the ship with his continued focus and drive for operational excellence. Mike's role here has been essential, and we are profoundly grateful for his ongoing leadership. His efforts and accomplishments have positioned us to really face the future strongly. This transition follows the recent appointment, as you heard, of University President Dr. Shireen Gabriel. She's been here 6 weeks. I can't tell you what she's already done. We couldn't get through her PowerPoint at the board meeting today. The university is growing, and under her leadership will really reach new heights. We are thrilled to have her here and have no doubt she'll be a great partner to Dr. Krishnan, Dr. Latif, Mike Dandorf, and the entire leadership team. Words are really inadequate to thank Dr. Goodman for his service. He is one of a kind, the best kind. And Larry, we plan to find a lot of ways to honor and embarrass you over the coming months. Suggestions welcomed from any of you who know him better than I do. We are really going to miss Dr. Goodman, and we couldn't be more grateful. We wish you and Mickey wonderful health, some fun adventures, and maybe even grandchildren. And to Dr. Krishnan and Dr. Latif, congratulations. I very much look forward to working with you and the entire team. And now Dr. Krishnan will come up.
So let me start. I first want to thank Susan Crown, Chair of the Board of... Can you hear me, by the way? My voice generally may not carry, so if you don't hear me, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. So Susan Crown, our Chair of the Board of Trustees, and our former Chair, Bill Goodyear, and the Board of Trustees for their complete support and confidence in us, and their enormous dedication and contribution to Rush. I don't think people are aware of how much a board does for an institution, and the more you work with the board, you realize without them, we won't be doing very much of what we're doing. Thank you to them and the board. Our board is a source of strength that makes our dreams come true, and I think their continued support is going to help us do really well going forward. I came to Rush 3 years ago, and I came because of Dr. Larry Goodman, who's really built Rush into what it is today. By the way, I first met him on a Skype call. That was my introduction to Rush. And he was so convincing that, and I'd never lived in Chicago, never lived in the cold. I'm getting used to it. But I came over here, met, and I stayed. He exemplifies, Dr. Goodman exemplifies what Rush is all about. It is really difficult to step in after a legend. We will work hard to build upon the solid foundation that he has created over the last 17 years. So shortly after I came to Chicago, I went to a local Walgreens. I was wearing my Rush badge. The clerk at the counter asked if I worked at Rush, and then said, Rush saved her life when she was diagnosed with cancer and had been told that there was not much hope. She went to Rush, where she was greeted with compassion, optimism, and outstanding care. This is the Rush that I've come to know. I'm very humbled and honored to work with all of you to do what we do best, to provide the best care for our patients and outstanding training for all our students. Now our population is aging. They will need more care and services, and at the same time there is an increasing shortage of healthcare providers, not just physicians and nurses, but also in many emerging fields, including healthcare IT, data analytics, robotics, genetic engineering, and genetic counseling. Now Rush is truly uniquely positioned to train the workforce of the future, educate our current employees to learn important new skills, and through our anchor mission, commit to helping the communities we serve. Our system is in the early stages and strong, growing quickly in size and in scope. By providing access to care in new locations and through non-traditional methods like telemedicine, visiting a doctor online, we will further extend access to the excellent care Rush provides. We will become the region's preferred destination for complex specialty care in areas such as cancer, neuroscience, and we will continue for what we are already well known in bone and joint disease. To do this, we will innovate and translate research into superior patient outcomes through next generation care delivery, prevention, and population health. Again, we may take a non-traditional path, but our unique capabilities and partnerships offer limitless opportunities to improve the health of the communities we serve and beyond. Dr. Latif and Dr. Gabriel are terrific partners, and together we will work to find solutions that address some of the greatest challenges in US healthcare today, including the ability to deliver exceptional quality more efficiently and at lower cost within the communities we serve. I'm also looking forward to partnering with Rush System President Mike Dandoff, who will continue his important system leadership role to further develop our growth plans and strategy, including partnerships with industry leaders, further defining the system structure and how we function collaboratively as a system. This is going to be a multi-pronged effort that will involve our medical system, Rush University, our community, our businesses to create a plan and a path toward better health equity and outcomes for the patients we serve. With the system we built together, combining education, research, and clinical delivery, the Rush system is in a unique position to innovate patient care and educate and nurture the healthcare leaders of the future. I want to thank my wife and family for their support and actually for putting up with me. So before I close, a question that always comes up is, what changes are going to happen? What are we going to do? The first thing I want to reassure everyone is changes will be gradual and planned. I'm not stepping down as dean tomorrow, so nobody has to worry suddenly there's going to be all new changes. We will plan it out the right way and we'll do the transition in the right way. With regard to the dean, it'll be done conjointly with the president of Rush University and with the president of RUMC. With that, let me introduce someone who all of you know and all of you love and beloved by everybody, so Dr. Omar Latif. He is the new CEO of RUMC. Please welcome him.
So, and I said this a few minutes ago. So first, thank you everybody for coming. I know it's an afternoon, and afternoon meetings are everybody's favorite things to do. I've never been managed so much as I have the last couple of days, where people are actually sending me talking points. And then I realized today, when everybody was speaking, nobody else was following their talking points. Because I have like 6, and everybody's talking for a lot longer, so I'm going to drag out, talk slower, so that I can take more mic time. I did blow up my font, but that's not going to help. Attitude, I love cliches. I listen to YouTube videos sometimes. It drives my family crazy. I make them listen to them. Inspirational songs, things like that. That's sort of my thing. I do believe attitude reflects leadership. The attitude of Rush is awesome, and that comes from Dr. Goodman. And that's all I want to say about it. He's going to get a lot of like praise and stuff like that over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to keep it real with just that. It is an amazing place to work because there's a true north in how people are supposed to act, and that's it. That's legitimate stuff. I don't think it's possible to be more humbled or honored than I am right now for the opportunity to talk to you and to thank you all for a chance to do this job. This is an incredible opportunity to work in an incredible institution. I came to Rush in 2002 to start my fellowship in pulmonary critical care. When you do the match, you rank programs, and Rush was my second choice. I was so confident I was going to get my first. I actually took the train up there and looked around for a place to live, and yeah, I don't want to talk about that. Then I came, everybody said it's going to be great. You're going to come work with these iconic leaders in pulmonary and critical care, the editors of these journals, and I got here, and after about a month, they both left. Many of you know who they are, and they were gone. They're like out being deans in other places, and so I was hit pretty hard. I'll tell you what, Dr. Levin taught me how to be a student, and all of you, half of you taught me how to be a doctor. And it's been a great experience in everything that I've done here. It was after a couple years in my work here, ultimately, where I took on various leadership roles, and I met Dr. Goodman, who I'm very proud to say I've been able to mentor into a successful CEO over the last couple of years. You're doing great. Dr. Krishnan, Dr. Gabriel, Mike Dandorf, and I all believe that there's tremendous opportunities to advance quality and safety in medical care in the nation, but to do it in a way that's both very patient and provider-centered. If we can do that, we'll make this the most amazing place to work and be a patient at, and that's really the only goal. Our collective goals require innovation and transformative health education, research, and really thinking a little differently from how we've thought historically in healthcare. And it's an exciting time and an amazing team to do that with. Rush is a community that provides care in so many different ways than just a provider-patient relationship. People take care of each other, and I look forward to continuing to support that feeling, that attitude, and that work. Our work here is centered on patients and on students, and I'm privileged really to be a part of the culture that's at Rush. It's a culture that I grew up in. It's the only culture I know, and I have no desire to go anywhere else. It's a tremendous privilege, and it's an honor to work with all of you. And with the exception of getting emotional, I think I'm gonna stop. But Dr. Krishnan sort of, when he thanked the family, put me in a bind because I didn't have that as one of my talking points. But I wanted to thank Naja for coming a few minutes late today.
So, we're obviously in great hands. A couple of things. First, it is true, I met Ranga by Skype. He was applying to be the dean. When I got off the phone, I had never had a conversation quite that way, and actually then flew to Singapore, saw what he'd done at Duke Singapore Medical School. I think I met Shwarma and Ranga in London as we were trying to close the deal and him coming on the day of the train strike there. And each one of these meetings, and actually each interaction since, has been incredibly impressive as far as the way he thinks about things and can put things together and translate opportunities into critical strategies. Omar, I think, has been also one of the most remarkable people I've ever worked with. Not only is he a great physician with people all over the city calling for advice and now all over the country calling, but he's been the sort of person that I think all of us like to see as kind of that nameplate on Rush, because he's going to run across the city and bring somebody over to Rush and put them on ECMO, and it doesn't matter what else is going on. If that's what they need, that's what's going to happen. And it's just a terrific kind of way to express the way we approach patient care, which is really what people need. What's going on here, and I think what each of us go into medicine for, and whether you are directly involved in patient care or you're an administrator here or whatever you do here, you're involved in patient care. And each of you has a personal mission to that effect and feels strongly about it. And it's hard enough when it's a great honor to be able to be in patient care and have people confide in you and share with you the most personal things, but it's also one of the most unpredictable things one can do, and it is literally life and death. And so at the end, one of the most important attributes of leadership, which this whole team up here has, is the intrinsic understanding of what you're going through every day. Because that requires people who, when things don't go well, and inevitably things don't go well sometimes, you know, we all miss things, and sometimes we all do things great, and there's still something happens that isn't great. You need a team of people that are going to rally around each other and work on the problem, and then do and take care of things the best way possible. And you also have to have your decisions supported. That's what this team does. That's how they exemplify things. I will say one last thing before we break for some refreshments is that the way these transitions work is actually, I'm sure you've seen some places where there's new leadership named and then the old CEO kind of hangs around for like a period of years. But the way this actually works here is the plan is there will be a transition. It's not going to be like tonight at midnight or something happens, so that, as Ranga was saying, there needs to be an orderly handoff, and that will take some weeks or a few months. Certainly by the end of June that will be completed, probably almost certainly sooner, to each one of these critical positions, but it will be careful and orderly. That's the whole reason to have a process like this, is to make sure this is handled in a good way and all of your questions are answered. So with that, thank you all really from the bottom of my heart. This has really been a wonderful